I recently had a conversation about housing and how the way people look at buying them, the locations where they buy them may change in the coming decades. Today, I'm going to put an idea into your head that may benefit you in the future. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Reese. In today's video, I'm going to put an idea into your head about why I think the housing market may move away from the traditional age-old, the closer your house is to the city, the more valuable the land will be. I think that this is going to change in the coming decades, and I'm going to explore that idea today. The current pandemic has really tested the waters as to how us Australians deal with things, such as the ability to supply an entire nation with toilet paper in a single month. All jokes aside, I want to dive into the work from home model today and explain why I think houses in remote locations, places that you may never have considered living before, or land size with big backyards, big front yards will go up in value. Now, my profession is engineering, and I'm not too sure how that is going to be too relevant to this specific scenario, but I currently do a bit of work in an office and also in the field. So it's a bit of a mixture. I'm kind of on my feet. However, for the last 5 months, I've been strictly work from home. I've only had to go into the office 2 times in that entire period of time. Otherwise, I've been traveling for work within my local area. And I'm going to paint the picture with another person too, which is my mum. My mother has been transitioned fully from her office to work from home and hasn't actually needed to go back since she transitioned to the work from home model. The door to working from home is opening. The possibility is becoming more realized every day, and companies are definitely going to transition into it, even if they resist now. Why? Lots of reasons, but the main one is that they're going to save money. And it can be from something as small as saving tea and coffee costs to what they supply their employees with, all the way up to rent for a building, where if you could mobilize your workforce or your employee base to all be work from home, you no longer need to pay rent for a commercial building, which would be very expensive because they're all working from home. It reduces costs on the company, and I can't see a reason why companies won't transition into this, I'll call it a model, in the near future. Ultimately, the savings on their expenses could be huge. This then results in people having the luxury of being able to work from wherever they want. Kind of anywhere in the world, but let's keep it contained within the country for now, just for the purpose of this example. With this opportunity, they won't really need to think about the limitations of where their workplace is if they're working from home for the majority of their job. An example would be 2 hours out of the city on a coastal beach, which is not viable if you're having to travel every day for work, but if you work from home, perfect. Or living 8 hours away, 10 hours away, it doesn't matter the location. You will be able to live there and not have to worry about how you're going to get to and from your work. So what does this mean for desirable locations to live with nice properties, but aren't really travel accommodating for your job? They're going to become a viable and desirable place to live, driving their prices of those locations up. Now, it's not all in the location as well. One other thing I really think is going to become more popular are houses with big backyards, or big front and big backyards. Or the alternative is having a property which is close to parklands or accessible open space to be able to get fresh air, kick a ball, take your kids for a walk kind of thing. We are currently in a phase where we're trying to cram large blocks by subdividing them and cram so that you can live closer to a city, and what they're spitting out are houses with no backyard, no front yard, and the living space is actually pretty dense. I think that we will see a shift back towards larger properties being desirable. Now I'm going to give you a scenario and let's see what you think. So let's say you are now working from home. So you've just crammed in 40 hours of your work week into your home, meaning you're now spending even more time home. Let's say you have 2 or 3 kids and a partner. What does that ultimately mean for you? It means that you're gonna be at home and probably need some time to yourself, some space, some way of getting out without actually getting out. To entertain the kids, to stay fit and healthy, to just keep your mind active, you may reside in using a big backyard, a big front yard, or using a local parkland. The point here is that having access to space may become more desirable because it's viable for you to live in a house like this, whilst also it's going to be a necessity for you to stay sane. So with this in mind, I think we will also see a shift towards bigger, larger properties becoming more popular again. Of course, how could I possibly know if any of this will actually become a reality? I don't, but I'd be willing to put some money on it if I could. Why? Because the work from home model is a viable thing. Companies will eventually transition into this work-life balance or workspace where employees actually jump on to the concept of being able to do this. I know plenty of people who would jump on the opportunity if given the chance to live somewhere that is absolutely not a viable location to work right now for their profession. I encourage you to watch this space over the coming years because it's a space where we may see a shift, and if you're clever, you may be able to see opportunities of actual land or properties or locations, suburbs, areas that you can invest in by buying land for cheap. And over the course of time, as those areas develop and people come flooding in, you may make a fat profit from it. I hope I got your brain thinking in today's video. It's kind of out of the box and it's kind of far-fetched, but if it's at the back of your mind, in the coming years, you may find an opportunity that benefits you greatly. As always, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you in the next one.